Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video where today we return with round 9 of Season 6 of our F1 22 My Team Career mode. And quickly, before we jump into this one, just for those of you that normally watch these videos on Twitch, I apologise, we haven't simply got enough time to stream these as much as I need to anymore. Of course, F1 23 is literally out next week, so we are kind of in a situation now where I'm going to have to really start just grinding these videos out so we're finished in time, of course, ready for the new games. So some of them are still going to be streamed when I get a chance, but a lot of them are going to have to be recorded now because we simply don't have enough time there. But of course, if you're new around here, make sure you leave a like, get yourself subscribed to the channel as well, of course. We're getting closer and closer to 110,000 subscribers at the moment. Of course, like I said, F1 23 out very, very soon now, so you definitely want to get yourself ready for our all-new series as well. But yeah, British Grand Prix this weekend, though, here from Silverstone. If you missed out on the video that went live yesterday from Canada, would highly recommend going back and checking that out as well. We are now just 19 points behind Charles Leclerc in the championship. A bit of a slip-up for our teammate last weekend, but my home race here, of course, I won his home race, so I'm sure he wants to return the favour this weekend as well there. But yeah, Silverstone, the home of Formula 1, so let's try and finish, you know, my final home race of F1 2022. Let's try and go out with a bang. Well, jumping in then, here's a Q3 for the British Grand Prix, and there is a real strong desire this weekend to try and take pole on my final outing at home here on F1 22. However, it looks like this is going to become a one-shot qualifying session. The rain is meant to be rolling in. It is Britain after all, so always expect changeable conditions, but we have got one sensible lap then to try and make this count. Charles Leclerc and I have been trading fastest laps all weekend up to now. We're looking at a mid-25. Will have to be enough there as Mick Schumacher 26. I'm definitely going to have to go quicker than that. Lando Norris, another 26 there. It does seem like Charles and I have just got a little bit more over every other car at the moment. Perhaps the Audi technology in this power unit providing us with that extra little boost. Good. Down through the hairpin. Always got to be careful of the back end trying to rotate round. We head up through the old turn one there. Actually clipped the apex that time round. So much more satisfying on F1 23 that corner. But you know what? Let's just try and nail the rest of this lap there as we head through Maggots and Beckett's. Trying to make sure we get the car rotated through that final one to roll on the power as early as we can. You can see a long way up on the time currently set by Eurovips there. Purple sector 1. Purple in sector 2. We've got a few more corners. We've just got to try and hook this up. There's a really nice line through there as well. Just like keep the car between the white lines. Straight line braking at the 100-meter board. Come on, come on, come on. At the final corner, Perez is set at 25.7. What is the time going to be up towards the line? 25.1! Oh my! Okay, well we have definitely put the gauntlet down then for Charles Leclerc there, and that might be maybe the best lap I've ever done on F1 22. I don't quite know there. That felt hooked up. That felt on the limit. We will absolutely take it. I don't think I could go quicker if I wanted to. Oh, then looks like the track has started to rain then. So Charles Leclerc only down in P7. I mean, look at that. 26.9 first sector, 35.0 second sector. I'm pretty certain we are on pole here for our home Grand Prix. We could not ask for more than that.
Great Britain then, one of only 2 countries to have held a Grand Prix in every year of the Formula 1 World Championship. And that record extends further for today's Grand Prix. Silverstone circuit then is 3.6 miles long, has a total of 18 corners, and of course is no stranger to the rain. There won't be any DRS available in these conditions, but the Wellington and Hangar straights are still good opportunities to tuck into the slipstream and make a pass. Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks like for today's race. Mr. Monaco lines up on pole position. Sergio Perez lines up alongside. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Norris, Drugovich, Esteban Ocon and Leclerc, Mick Schumacher, Yuri Vips, Teo Pourchaire and Jehan Daruvala. Oscar Piastri, Albon, Pierre Gasly. They'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. And Stroll, Richard Verschoor, Ticktum, Robert Schwartzman, and Valtteri Bottas. Joe, Latifi, Fittipaldi, and Kevin Magnussen fills the last spot on the grid. That's it then, it's time to go racing as we head down trackside for today's race.
I know this is your home Grand Prix, but treat it like any other race. Let's not make any unnecessary risks.
Well, you know what? To be honest, in these conditions, Mark, I just want to try and lead this thing from the front as best as possible. 52 laps ahead of us here from Silverstone, all of which are meant to be in some tricky intermediate conditions. But Charles Leclerc, again, has had another disappointing qualifying. He's up to P6 by virtue of some grid penalties, but we could theoretically take the lead at the Drivers' World Championships Day. It would be a massive overturn of the 40-point deficit we had not that long ago. I must admit, I don't often get nervous on F1 22, but I definitely feel so today. Then this is going to be a very, very long race here from Silverstone, full intermediate conditions. But you know what? There's just that little part of me that thinks, you know what? I reckon we can do this weekend there as we try and line up on the grid. Oh, no. Deary me. Deary me. Right, anyway, let's do this thing. British Grand Prix here from Silverstone, just waiting up on those Aston Martins at the rear of the fields. Let's try and get a nice, clean getaway. 5 red lights. Lights out, and away we go. And actually a pretty decent and clean getaway there. Sergio Perez struggling to put the power down, and that's going to mean as we get in towards turn 1, we have got free running there. Felipe Drugovich just saw for a moment up into P3 off the start as we're trying to defend from Checo down in towards the loop for the first time then, and Drugovich still going at it with Lando Norris there. Mick Schumacher, Charles Leclerc battling a little bit further behind them at the start of this race, so looks like Charlie Boy has made no progress, but that's just how difficult it's going to be there. Car trying to break free in 5th gears to go side by side with Checo Perez down the Wellington straight. We'll try and hook it up around the outside of him, make sure we give him some room on the inside. We can't just get a little bit wedged over the curb in there as we head through Luffield. Sergio Perez still around the outside, finding the grip there on the longer exit. So we're going to be side by side back up towards the old Salmon. Where have we seen this before in Formula 1? As we're not going to try and back out of it against Sergio. Down a couple of gears there, but luckily I hit the apex. We keep it clean, and Sergio Perez round the outside there. An audacious lap 1 move by the man currently sitting in P3 in the championship, yet to take a win so far this season, as Lando Norris fancied a little piece of the action as well there. But yeah, Perez yet to take a win so far this campaign. Bottas, his teammate, has had one, but Perez has been very, very consistent early on this season there, which has allowed him to currently rank behind both our Audi cars as we head over the halfway stage of the season. But as we round down in towards the final couple of corners then of lap 1, Checo's definitely got some pace here early on, clearly feeling confident with that Red Bull underneath him, perhaps around a little bit more downforce in qualifying than, so obviously trying to help him out in the race there, as Lando Norris got a little bit caught up behind me through the final corner. Thinks about having a look down the inside at turn 1. We've got a battle of the Brits early on in this race, but I cannot let Perez break free. Just watching Sergio Perez there up the road, seems like he's able to get the car more planted where he wants it there. He's just got that confidence. He knows exactly where he wants to place the car, and of course seemingly able to do so, as Lando Norris definitely still struggling a little bit behind me there. Maybe we're going to drive ourselves into no man's land early on this race. We can just see us struggling on occasion to quite get the car rotated in. So yeah, Lando Norris, though, the gap floating around a second behind there. Perez 37.1. I can only do a 37.8. 36.9 for Checo, 36.8 for myself. Quite sure where Charlie Boy is. Oh, a little bit wide there through turn 1. Whoa, do not want to do that more often. Big snap oversteer there, and Lando Norris and Felipe Drugovich will say thank you very much. And it's still that going back to F1 22 from F1 23 that I'm struggling with there, just finding the limit on this game. You just don't really ever feel like you know exactly where it is. Now we might be under pressure from Mick Schumacher as well. as we head down the Wellington Straight there. The Alpine driver have been a bit quieter in recent races after that win back at Imola, but yeah, really not quite what I wanted there. And now we've got even more work to do, and Checo is under even less pressure. But it does feel like the track conditions are moving around quite a lot still early on in this race. You feel like you find a line that consistently works for a braking marker, and then suddenly next time round it doesn't work, and then the lap after that it does again. So everyone, yeah, very much just settled in. I think everyone is kind of still on the path to survival early on in this race. But yeah, gap to Drugovich floating still around the 1.5 second mark. Mick Schumacher is trying to apply a bit more pressure to me there as Drugovich, new fastest lap of the day. So AI clearly still pushing, but track conditions maybe just improving slightly. Not convinced we're going to get dry running this afternoon, but I would absolutely love it to be. There we go.
5 seconds.
Back on top, fastest lap once again, so quite clear that we have still got the pace to hang. But yeah, it just feels so inconsistent early on in this race again, just that trying to find the limit. We're only on lap 8 of 52, dearie me. Leclerc now starting to make moves. Just see my teammate pop up into P6 then, so clearly overtaking can be done around this venue. Esteban Ocon in his McLaren, so it's been shuffled down. There we go. Charles Leclerc proving the pace he's got then in the car. 36.3, new fast lap of the day. So it might not be long before our Monegasque teammate is trying to... Whoa! Apply some pressure. It might be even sooner now if I'm going to make mistakes like that. Mick Schumacher, I'm sure will say thank you very much. Just trying to find the limit. I mean, look at how much the car's just still skating around underneath me. We got ground effect. It shouldn't be doing that. I guess the only other real thing I can hope for at the moment as we cross over one course's distance is that perhaps the AI are taking more out of their tyres than I am. Generally, tyre wear on the intermediates does actually play into the hands of the human player a little bit more than the AI. The wets and the full dries are often a different story, but intermediates, you tend to be able to go a bit longer, you tend to be able to stretch them a bit further than the AI are willing to. But it would just be nice if it actually felt like I could make an overtake around here, because at the moment, unless the AI do something crazy, you just kind of feel like every time you make a little mistake, of course, you might lose 1 or 2 spots, but no possible ever way of getting them back again. It's definitely the closest I've been to Mick Schumacher all afternoon as we head out onto the hangar straight. Can we finally now start progressing forward once again then to the inside of the young German? And there we go, we will make it through and up then into P4. Once again, he'll try and switch me off the exit, but that is psychologically such a big win in this race. You can make forward progress still here at Silverstone. Drugovich 3.5 seconds up the road. It's still not like we've got a ridiculous advantage over the AI or anything like that. As here goes Mick Schumacher trying to look back past me. Definitely not too wide through there. We'll run very, very wide though through the corner. It's going to compromise my run. Are we going to see him trying to send it again then? No, he's actually left battling with Charles Leclerc behind. A little bit of contact between them, and maybe Charles Leclerc is going to try and follow me past the Alpine. Teamwork makes the dream work and all that, and you know what? Charles Leclerc's done it. Straight up then into P5 of the GP, so now we've got to try and run away again from Charlie Boy. Okay, new fast lap of the day, that's nice to see. 36.1. We really have romped away from Charles Leclerc, so I wonder... I did see a little bit of contact between him and Mick earlier on, whether they've both just picked up a tiny amount of front wing damage that's costing them. But yeah, suddenly it feels like we are back up to pace there as well. Esteban Ocon, I think, might be out of the Grand Prix there. He's either... No, I think he's just had a big lock-up. But either way, Ocon, that is a world of hurt. No, he is out. And we've got a safety car in this Grand Prix then. So, yeah, Ocon out then. Is he out? No, he's still racing this Grand Prix, just parked in a dangerous location. Don't get a penalty, don't get a penalty, don't get a penalty, don't get a penalty. Thank you. That was close. But, yeah, now we've got a safety car. Do we pit? I think we've just got to see what the AI do. I think, yeah, if Checo, Norris and Drugovich all box him, we're probably going to have to, of course, because then they're going to have just a big advantage throughout the rest of the afternoon. But honestly, I wouldn't be against no-stopping this. There we go, they're all staying out, so we will do the same. We could genuinely no-stop this race. Right, well, as we get ready then to start lap 20 of this GP, just over 30 laps to go here from Silverstone. We're still not that far into this race, it feels like. But Perez then leading the way as we get ready for the restart there. Got to be careful, trying to put heat into the tyres, but don't, of course, want to loop it round. As, yeah, Drugovich now just in front of me. How many times have we tried this season to push Drugovich out of a podium position there? But at the final couple of corners, of course, we know just how ridiculous the AI are off of safety car restarts. So our whole goal is going to be defend rather than attack. It's green flag racing once again then. Got to try and get those tyres back up to scrub and keep Charles Leclerc at bay. Yeah, definitely feel like the AI have worked through their rubber a lot more than I have in the opening stages of this GP, and now the pace advantage is finally starting to come back our way there. Sergio Perez, new fast lap of the day. We will go fractions quicker at the front of the field then. So Perez trying to break away from Lando and Drugovich once again. And of course then we'll get a moment like that. I've genuinely no idea how I've saved that. I thought that was us probably off into a wall, to be completely honest, but completely locked up all 4 tyres. And, well, I might need a new pair of underwear, but apart from that, we're still good. Yellow flag's out. Someone's got issues a bit further back. I think it's Pierre Gasly again. Surely not another engine failure for Ferrari. How many times have we said that so far this year? I'm pretty certain it is Pierre Gasly going slowly then. I think it's only a matter of time yet. Pierre Gasly out of the British Grand Prix there. I mean, what's that? 5, 6 Ferrari power unit failures? Seems like we get at least one every weekend. Another new fastest lap. Not for us, Mark. I reckon we stay out here at the moment, especially whilst these tyres are providing new fastest lap after fastest lap. Almost down into the 95 seconds here, and Silverstone in the rain. That is ridiculous. Oh, more yellows out. Someone else now going with issues. I think that's Bottas. Well, he's right at the rear of the field then, so no idea what's happened to the Red Bull, but Bottas, I think, has just looped it. Finally down into the 35s then, as Team 1 is in at the end of this one. I absolutely am not, though. Could we do this thing on a no-stop? That's got to be the real question. But, I mean, it will also depend on what the AI's pace is like once I've picked. If they're suddenly setting 34s, 33s, I'll probably have to join them. Are we going to see Checo into the pit lane then? Will Norris and Drugovich be joining him? As we cross the half distance here at Silverstone, it's been a very long and arduous drive so far. Drugovich in, but Norris and Checo both opting to stay out then. So we are now back into the podium places of this GP. 2 Brits back on the podium. Tell you what, the rain definitely seems to be getting less and less as well though, so maybe we could see dries before this race is down and out.
We'll be seeing at least 20 minutes of light rain. Inter's seems to be the fastest tyre for now.
Team still saying, Inter's still saying it's going to continue to rain. It just definitely is getting less and less as the afternoon goes on. And again, neither of our top 2 opted into box, so what have Lando and Sergio got planned? Charles Leclerc in behind us, however, as we set another new fastest lap of the day. A lot more AI boxing in, so clearly the top 3 might just be a game of chicken between us. Who's going to be the first to blink? Oh, okay, Drugovich new fast lap of the day then, so clearly a fresh set of tyres are working rather nicely on the Haas car, but I mean, he just loses so much time for a pit stop here at Silverstone. That's the other big thing. So, I mean, yeah, Drugovich has got a lot of work to do if he ever wanted to close up. Well, heading in towards the final 20 laps, and it still doesn't look like either Perez, Norris, or myself is willing to blink in this Grand Prix. McLaren seems to be one of the only other teams that has gone this way as well, then, and could be trying to boost themselves up the roster, but it just also feels like the only problem, of course, with this is we just can't seem to find a way around Lando Norris either. The AI at Silverstone, very, very good in the wet, exactly where they need to be. Will quite happily throw away a few tenths where you can't get round them. In the areas that you can, they are pretty much perfect. Just noticing the way Lando Norris is driving at the moment. He's kicking out the back end a lot more in some corners. So either starting to struggle a bit more on those tyres, or he's trying to push and it really just isn't working for him. Perez, that gap is just opening up ever so slightly. And I'm starting just to sense the fact there might be an opportunity to move past our fellow Brit at some point. It's just about whether he makes a big enough mistake, or we can try and hang close through the corners that matter. That time around through the old turn 1, he hooks it up quite nicely as we try and head through Maggots and Beckett's. Then you can still just see the AI able to get the car. I mean, you can see him sliding around there, but still able to launch the car exactly where he wants. And yeah, we're definitely not going to be close enough this time round, but Lando Norris just perhaps started to struggle a bit sooner than Checo and I are. 15 laps to go then. You can just see Sergio Perez. That gap at the front is definitely opening up more and more each and every lap at the moment. Lando Norris is really now starting to become a bit of an inconvenience in front of me. We've got to try and find a way around this Ferrari car, but still just nowhere really to do it sensibly. Come on, this has been the closest I've been to Lando Norris all afternoon as we head out onto the hangar straight once again. Often we haven't been able to get the run down here, but it's actually been down in towards the final chicane that we get more of an opportunity there. And you can see Lando Norris kicks at the back end as he tries to put the power down. I think it's got to be now or never to the inside of Lando Norris. And finally, I've spent so many laps staring at the Velas logos on the back of that car, but we are through and up into P2 with 10 laps to go of this Grand Prix. The crowd, I'm sure, split between us, but I'm sure they'd want to see one of us get round Sergio Perez before the end of this race. 1.5 seconds up to the Mexican. I know we can rock up to the back of him quite quickly, but it's just then, can we find a way around him? We're going to have to go brave in these final 10 laps. Oh, the purple middle sector, less than 10 to go now, and that is exactly the time we want to be doing it. I would love to try and snooker away that fastest lap bonus point. Again, I know it's not currently in Charles' hands, but every extra point could make the difference come the end of this season. Send it. As we head through the final chicane there, we have closed up to Perez quite quickly once again. It's just trying to put the power down at the final corner. No, not quite fastest lap that time. The gap to Checo, under 1 second. A move round here really does feel like it gets set up half a lap in advance there as we head through Luffield. It's all about just trying to hang close through this whole section of the circuit. 7 laps to go here from Silverstone. This has been a really tough race, to be honest, but we are hanging on in there at the moment as we get another nice run through the Old Turn 1, 3/10 back behind Sergio Perez. If we can get a good run through Maggots and Beckett, surely this time round we have got an opportunity there. Attack the curbs, leave it in 5th gear. It gives you better traction on the exit. It means we can try and use that battery. As you can see, they're wheel spinning our way out in 6th gear. But we are still going to get a decent run as we head down the hangar straight. Not quite close enough, but are we going to be close enough to go for a send in through the chicane there? Little bit of a snap of oversteer, and again, you know there, as soon as you get that, nice lock-up as well on the front, just so I get it somewhere near the apex. Tyre warning light has now flashed up, but as soon as you get any moment, pretty much from Luffield all the way around to that final chicane, you got to wait yet another lap. Come on, 4 laps to go. The gap to Charles actually opened up since he pit, so clearly was not the right way to go for him. And I mean, all 3 of us that are on the nose stop still a long way ahead of Felipe Drugovich as well. There hasn't even closed up to those McLaren cars, but it just does really feel like time is running out to try and get a run on Sergio there. You can see just how hard we're pushing, not only to get closer to the Red Bull, but also keep the car pointing in the right direction here. We make up good chunks of time through some of the corners, and then just in the traction zones, we are really struggling to do anything against Sergio. But if we get an opportunity, I am not going to be afraid to take it here. Come on, we can do this. On 2 laps to go, it really is that final corner where Perez is able to open up the gap every single time. But we just need to be a couple of tenths closer and then nail most of the lap. Sounds simple, but against these AI, it is not as easy as you'd think, especially with the lack of traction. Tell you what though, that's been the best run we've had through the loop all afternoon. You can see purple through the first sector, and you know what, this is the closest we've been all day. Just got to try and get the power down nicely. A little bit of wheel spin there, but if we can hang close to Perez through the Old Turn 1 and then don't do anything through Maggots and Beckett's, come on, just over 1 lap to go here. You can see Checo again trying to kick the back end out. We're filling his mirrors. The Mexican is nervous. Don't take too much curb on the way in. Are we going to be able to get a run on the way out here on Sergio Perez? Short shift back into 6th gear there. Again, the gap opens up though to 0.4 of a second. We'll gain as we head down this straight, but it really does depend on his run through this final few corners. Again, there you can see Sergio just kicking out the back end, but he's able to get the power down. One more lap here from Silverstone. We have really got to concentrate. We have really got to focus. But I just want this win so badly there, as again we try and get the power out of the final corner. You can see Sergio Perez just runs away as we get back down towards someone there. Plenty of curb on entry, using all the track width on exit. We might just be able to hang close enough to get one last opportunity here, but at the moment, Perez seems to be hooking it up. Lando Norris waiting in the wings. If anything goes wrong, just happy to snap up any place he can there. Drugovich, another new fast lap of the day, as you can just see that time round. Perez opens up that gap at the front of the field. Has he just saved a little bit in his tyres ready for these final couple of laps? There is a big lock up on the way in. Somehow still got the car rotated at the end of the Wellington straight there, but again just trying to put the throttle down. We nick the curb in, and that might be all she wrote here. It's those tiny little mistakes that might only cost you a tenth or so, but make such a difference around the rest of the lap there. We're not going to give up just yet though, as we head down in towards Maggotts and Beckett's for the final time in this Grand Prix. It has been a tough old afternoon, but I don't think we're going to have enough. I think Perez, oh, he makes a bit of a mistake, but so do we. At the downshift to keep the back end in line there. Lando Norris is going to be too far back unless something crazy happens with that Aston Martin. I think Perez has just about done enough here. As you can see, the Mexican again there, trying to just make sure he protects his advantage at the front of the field. We're not close enough to do anything. Oh, I thought about trying to get the nose to the inside through the final couple of corners, though. Perez will win the British Grand Prix, and we can only muster up P2.
Top job, my friend, top job. I was a bit worried about this one at the start of the weekend, but you pulled through. Thank you very much.
Here we are then, a fantastic British Grand Prix, and what a performance it was from our race winners today. So, Anthony, what made the difference out there today?
I think that smart tyre management on track and very smooth driving definitely assisted in their victory today. That combination meant they got the absolute maximum out of their tyres at all times.
Red Bull put up an outstanding fight for the front position today, and it's great to see it paid off for them. They do so much for the sports that you can't help but be delighted by today's race win. So then, it's time to see how this result affects the Drivers' Championship. This result then narrows the gap between our championship leader and the rest of the standings. Let's focus on the driver of the day, Anthony Davidson. Who do you pick?
Guan Yu Zhou gets my vote today.
It's time to check out the constructors' standings. No change in the top spot then, but with today's points, their hold on that lead is getting weaker. Meanwhile, Ferrari have improved their position. A strong weekend for them as they fight their way towards the top. Well, that was certainly an exciting weekend of Formula One. Be sure to join us for more exciting Formula One action very soon.
Well, there we are then, the end of the British Grand Prix there, and Sergio Perez take up out there. First race victory for him of the season, second for Red Bull there. We come through for P2 ahead of Lando Norris, Esteban Ocon, and Zhou Guanyu there, 19th to 5th. Fantastic race by him on the no-stop there to make it work. Drugovich, our highest of the one-stoppers ahead of Bottas, Charles Leclerc in a pretty lonely P8 there, and ahead of Pourchaire and Yuri Vips. So again, the gap in the championship comes down to our teammate there. Pierre Gasly, the only car not to make it to the checkered flag, means championship-wise 5 points in it between myself and Charlie Boy at the top of the table there, as Liam Lawson is greyed out. I didn't even notice all weekend that we had Lance Stroll back in the Alpine car. Then no idea why Liam Lawson has been dropped at this early stage of the season, but very, very weird there in the final season. We still lead the way, of course, in the Constructors. 88 points gap to Red Bull as they open up the lead ahead of Ferrari, and Alpine are now dropping down into P4 there. Good haul of points for McLaren pushes them clear of Haas and Mercedes, still just ahead of Alfa Romeo, Alfa Tauri, Williams, and of course Aston Martin. But thank you all so much for watching this video. If you have enjoyed, please do make sure to leave a like, get yourself subscribed as well, and we will be back when Formula 1 returns, ready for the Austrian GP sprint race. 98 laps, no, 80 odd laps I think, from the Styrian Mountains. That one is going to be difficult. None of these videos would be possible without the help of our channel members, so a massive thank you to all of the names you see on your screens currently for helping support the channel. You can join them by clicking the join button down below, and yeah, thank you once again to everyone that continues all the insane support on my work.